Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Crime Crunchies. This is Courtney C., and thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wanted to talk a little bit about what this show is, Crime Crunchies, because we don't just take a bite out of crime. We like to crunch it here, as I say. And this is really where I compile a lot of information on the day or the time or a current event or a case, and really just share all the information with you from an empath's perspective. And so I am an empath. I do feel a lot of emotions from people, and I found that when I'm watching people doing what they're doing, like in the Karen Reed case, on the stand or reacting or in video, I typically am able to kind of perceive where they're coming from. And so I'm really trying to use this platform to share my perspective on what I see, and just kind of give you a little bit of a different take, a little bit different perspective on true crime. Of course, this week I am following the Nancy Guthrie case. Little housekeeping. I have a new mic, but the background noise is a little noisy right now. And I have a little special needs little boy who lives with me. His name is Colin. He's 10. And sometimes he likes to make noises in the background. And I'm working on getting my sound a little bit better, but if you hear him in the background, usually it's a good thing because he likes to sing or talk. But I just wanted to let people know we are animal friendly and we're kid friendly on our show. So again, if you happen to hear a little boy making noises in the background, it's probably because he's happy, and that's a very good thing. He's my special little angel. So let's talk about Nancy Guthrie. I actually took yesterday off. I'm trying to go live every single day, but honestly, the other night, watching everything that was going on, all the latest with the FBI, and they had a suspect that they were going after in Rio Rico. And then when that whole thing did not pan out, I was so hopeful because I've been so engaged and so I felt so connected to this case just because of how heartbreaking this case has really, truly been for the Guthrie family. I was crushed. I really thought that after that video came out and we heard that there was a suspect, that they were going down to Rio Rico, Arizona, I was really hoping that that was going to pan out. And of course, we know now that it didn't. And, that was really crushing. I can't imagine the roller coaster that this family has been on, going up and down. And a little bit later, I'm going to talk about, again, from an empath's perspective, how I have to wonder how the family is going through all of this, because, we're watching this from the outside in, but I really want to think about and talk about a little bit about what the family might be thinking, feeling, and going through. But we've had a lot of updates since then, since they had detained a suspect outside of Rio Rico and let that person go. I kind of was a little concerned, again, this roller coaster going up and down of hope, and then, oh no, they don't have anything. And the fact that they keep coming back to Nancy Guthrie's house and Annie Guthrie's house. It seems like they come back, they gather evidence, they do something, and then they leave. And in the meantime, the scene is completely open. The other day, somebody had a pizza delivered and they walked right up to the front door. It's really concerning how they should have just taped that house off, or both houses. They should have just taped everything off and just let it go. They haven't. So, but it seems like they have been gathering some information. We have some good news as far as leads, and the sheriff has not been keeping the media abreast of things. They haven't been making a statement. Actually been seeing some interviews from past Pima County sheriff employees who have definitely shared their personal opinions about this sheriff Nanos that's in charge. And Is there an ego battle going on behind the scenes? Is there an ego where the sheriff is trying to curtail the FBI because he wants, to be in charge, and when the FBI really has a lot more resources that he could be taking advantage of? So I really don't want to speculate on that situation. I'm really just hoping that local law enforcement is working with FBI. It seems like, they have been doing some things. There was a tent erected at Nancy Guthrie's house today. There were some people at Annie Guthrie's house again, and we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the other things that are going on. So TMZ actually, they came on today because they have received another note, but this first thing that I want to take us through, this first video, I believe that Harvey Levin is talking about the person, the person in the video, and that apparently some other video has popped up of this person, maybe this person somewhere else with a couple backpacks. So let's take a look and see what Harvey has to say in this, and then we're going to kind of dig into some of the evidence that people have been, the FBI has actually been literally combing through the brush in the heat, along the road, and they've actually been finding some things, and let's kind of talk about that here in just a moment. So let's add Harvey, and let's get me down here, and let's take a look and see what he has to say. All right. Let me escape out of here. Let me keep this up because I want to go back to Fox. I have to say that this jacket, of course, in the black and white, we don't know what color this jacket is in the nighttime, the trail or the ring, the Nest camera, try to use the correct. But I have to say that looking at the bottom of this jacket, it's not gathered. It's not like there's that elastic band that goes around when you zip it up. It is a straight cut. It's a straight fit. And looking at the jacket in the video, this is not zipped up, but the jacket in the video from the Nest camera, it is zipped up, and that jacket is a straight fit. It is the straight fit without like like a hoodie, elastic band around the waist. So it's very possible this does look a lot like that jacket. I will have to say, this person looks like they are definitely scoping out over this fence. I'm just wondering if somebody could, and I don't think we have the address, or maybe they do, but I would imagine in 5 minutes, if somebody drove this route over to Nancy's, that they could potentially identify if this could be driven in 19 minutes. Again, the backpack has been identified as a 25-liter Ozark Trail from Walmart. And that's good news, because if it is from Walmart, then they can check to see how many people purchased that item. Trying to get that image from that ad off the screen. Here's the backpack that people think it looks like from FBI reveals description of suspect and backpack he was wearing. So I'm just trying to decide if this looks like this backpack, and it could, except this looks like it's got red. So I don't know, the jury is out on this video, but it's hard to say. And again, it just looks like maybe there is at least a direction that they can go. And this is a lot of work for the FBI to comb through receipts. But here's the cool thing, actually, and what I want to do, I think one of these videos talks about how they're able to dump in this video to Walmart's security system. Walmart has a best in class security system, and Target, they all do. So the cool thing is that the FBI is able to plug into, say, Walmart's system. They can plug the person even with the face mask and the glove and the jacket and the way that the person walks. And literally, Walmart is able to, the video program is able to match people up by their gait, the way they walk, things about their appearance, their height, their weight. So think about that the next time you're at Walmart. Those cameras, they're watching everything about you, especially if you aren't wearing a ski mask or an N95 mask. But the camera at Walmart is able to sync up with the FBI, and they're able to do recognition, which is amazing, which is really cool when they're looking for the bad guy. But people, just something to think about. And there's also, I want to mention on the screen, it's talking about the $50,000 reward for information, but the FBI just released a statement saying that they have increased the reward to $100,000. And this is good, because Harvey Levin had mentioned that they got a follow-up message from somebody asking for 1 Bitcoin to be deposited into an account that they shared. And if that Bitcoin amount, which is equivalent to about $56,000 to $60,000, it ranges, if somebody deposited the amount of a Bitcoin into a Bitcoin account or this wallet, that they would then give the name of the person who is behind this. But here's the thing, the way to draw that person out, the best way to draw that person out actually is to increase the reward to $100,000. So if this person who's sending this note through TMZ really has a name to give, then they can go through the FBI for $100,000 and give the name. So I like that the FBI actually increased the reward, because what that does is it completely negates and minimizes this latest letter that was sent to TMZ. And again, unfortunately, during this very serious time in the Guthrie's experience, unfortunately, trolls do come out and uh, they take advantage of this situation. And it's surprising because I have way too much going on in my life that I certainly don't have time to sit around and think about how I can take advantage of somebody's, horrible situation. But apparently some people do. So I'm really glad to see that the FBI is increasing the reward, because now it negates that latest email that TMZ got asking for 1 Bitcoin. So here's a statement here shared on X Thursday from the FBI that they're describing the suspect as a male, approximately 5'9" to 5'10" tall, with an average build. But I think we all kind of figured that out anyway. I mean, we could see pretty much where the door handle was in the Nest camera view. To figure out that this person was about 5'9", 5'10". That was actually my guess as well. Average build, I actually want to say average to slim build. That person is actually, to me, they appear somewhat slim. But they are saying that they do believe it's a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack. And they announced that they are increasing the reward up to $100,000. And this really goes back to, in my opinion, if the FBI wants to offer $50,000 or $100,000, is somebody going to turn in their buddy for $100,000? I'm not sure, but the family or NBC, which is the owner of the Today Show, they could probably put 500,000, a private reward, 500,000 to $1 million up. And I think that that's enough money, like life-changing money, that somebody could just rat out their friend or whoever, because that is a serious amount of money. I'm not sure that I'm going to rat out cousin Billy for $100,000. I don't think that that's enough, but I do think that this is good, because this at least negates the latest. I'm not going to call it a ransom note, because it's not, but the information note that TMZ got asking for equivalent to Bitcoin. So it's all good, but honestly, if I was the Guthries, I would probably be offering a private reward. And again, housekeeping, I have a special needs little dude in the other room, and I'm working on my background noise with my mic. Sometimes he makes noises because he's happy, so apologies. All right, let's take a look at CNN. And so they're saying that there are multiple gloves discovered in Nancy Guthrie case. Let's see if we can find a video. I know that I had one here, and it looks like they're getting rain, which is difficult. See, I don't want to have to go back. Fox typically has a better video, which I like watching the videos because we get some information. Let me go back here. Let's watch this guy. He is Charles Marino, former Secret Service. Let's watch this guy. Of course, we have an ad. Let me skip this ad. All right, here we go.
Fox News, a set of gloves have been found about a mile and a half from Nancy Guthrie.
Right. There's this All right, so this was actually really interesting because this is what I was talking about before, that apparently all the big box stores, this person indicated that the big box stores have best in class security systems, computerized security systems, that literally the FBI is able to just drop images or video in, and the computer can go through and do all the facial and body recognition, and down to a certain type of sneaker, backpack, probably something, a product that they're pulling off the shelf. Apparently these systems are watching us and recording everything. And, that probably makes sense. When you go to the airport anymore, you're not scanning your boarding pass. You're giving the TSA person your ID, or you're feeding it into the machine yourself. It's pulling up your ID, and then you have to stand there and get a picture taken. So they have your facial recognition in the system for TSA or Border Patrol. And so now that's what these big box stores are doing right now as well, is able to actually do facial recognition when you're just shopping at Walmart or Target. This is Zosha, and I do have kitties. We are very kid and kitty and animal friendly. Hey, Zosha. Except that she likes to chew my microphone, so we'll put you over there. She likes to jump up here. So I thought that was very, very interesting to learn. I had never heard that before, about how, big box stores, their security systems are able to do that facial. Don't step on the computer, honey. Okay. All right. So it was mentioned that there was a tent up at Nancy Guthrie's home today. And I don't know if other people watch. I follow Duty Ron and Ed Wallace because they are past NYPD forensic specialists. And I'm not sure. I know that Bill from Police Off the Cuff is a homicide detective, but Ed Wallace is in forensics, and Ed Wallace actually teaches forensics. So I watched Duty Ron, and Duty Ron was on live earlier today and had Ed Wallace call in because there's a tent in front of Nancy Guthrie's home, that front door, and you could see forensics people going in and out of this tent with different things. And Duty Ron was asking Ed Wallace, what do you think they're doing in this tent? And Ed Wallace indicated that they're probably scanning. They probably are taking a laser and scanning the surface of any of that fluid, or perhaps the doorknob or the area around the Nest camera, because if they're able to get any DNA off of those surfaces, even if the suspect is not in CODIS with their DNA, we've got so many breakthroughs in genealogy anymore that, again, people, it's 2026. You cannot commit a crime in 2026 because, again, technology, your cell phone with you. There's a report earlier today that they didn't think that the person seen in the video, the suspect, actually brought their phone, because the first thing that the FBI did was check any phone in a geofence around those cell towers around that time. So, if this person was obviously professional enough to know to not even bring their cell phone, because there was no cell phone to gather. But a lot of times, if they were able to get a make and a model of a car, a lot of times there are computer chips in the car that, if they're able to get a vehicle, that they can track and see where that vehicle went. But the genealogy is getting so advanced and so much easier now with computers and AI that you don't have to be in CODIS. If you slip up, especially with this glove, and this glove could be a nothing burger or it could be a something burger, if they're able to get any DNA off this glove, or even Nancy's DNA, and link it to her, then the game is on. Because is this Secret Service person was just talking about in this video, people may take stuff off and chuck it out the window, and if if they've got an 84-year-old woman who's conscious in the car, they might be freaking out and not thinking, and having been so careful approaching the home, might just be peeling stuff out and dumping it out the window. It's very possible that that is a glove of interest. Absolutely. So we just don't know. And, it's hard to think that, hopefully they're able to get something, especially with them going in that tent today at Nancy Guthrie's house. And if they were able to scan for DNA or prints or anything along those lines, that the technology is what's actually going to solve this crime, as we all know. So it's very, very interesting. So I really enjoy watching Judy Ron and Ed Wallace, just for that forensics and all the information that they share. I also really like watching Police Off the Cuff with Bill and Professor Mike. They have a lot of experience from being homicide detectives and giving us a lot of what's going on with the cops, because right now we're not getting any information really from the sheriff. The sheriff has not held a press conference, which is fine. He doesn't have to, but we're all here just wondering what's going on, and it would be really nice if they could share something that is happening, even if it's just to put the heat on the suspect, because a lot of times if you give a suspect enough rope, they're going to slip up somewhere and they're going to make a mistake. And that's really, I think what they're waiting for now is they're collecting evidence. Yes, they didn't close off the scene like they probably should have. And, I think that they're doing things out of order. Apparently, even watching Judy Ron and Ed Wallace today, they were talking about how just now the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff Department is just now swabbing people who reportedly had worked in or around the home of Nancy Guthrie. And that probably should have been done day dot, because it takes time to get all that DNA back. And, it could save a lot of time. So there are certain things that probably could have been done earlier, but they're at least getting done now. We are on day 12. I don't know how the family is faring right now. And that's kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about, because, these are people who have jobs. These are people, Cameron and Savannah, they live out of state. And you just have to wonder if they're not getting anywhere. And chances are at this point, with every day that's passing, the chance of a successful reunion with Nancy Guthrie gets less and less. And at this point, I'm just hoping that they're able to retrieve Nancy in whatever fashion that is, so that the family can have closure. But I mean, other than some Instagram posts that Nancy has been making, I probably can pull this down. I'll leave it up. Other than really some posts that Savannah Guthrie has been making, I don't know what the family is doing to keep themselves busy. I mean, I would be going bananas. I don't know if they're able to sleep. I don't know if they're able to eat. The panic. I mean, how helpless. You must feel so helpless at the same time. I would want to be doing something. I know that they're kind of sequestered away. I heard that they're in a gated community, the siblings are, but I would probably want to be out there walking. The FBI is doing a good old-fashioned canvassing. I mean, they're literally, you see them with their water bottles, and it's been hot there. See them with their water bottles traipsing through the brush. They're checking everything. They're really doing a good job. And a lot of these things, they're doing a great job. And how patient they are. I mean, the media in front of Annie and Nancy's house, they're lining the whole road. Any media agency or organization is literally lining the road. It's like a circus. And I've been watching JLR Investigates, and in some cases, he was in a car following a team of people walking down the road and searching. And I mean, how patient to literally have cameras following you, watching every single move that you're making. That would be incredible. But if I would, that's what I would want to do. I would want to be out there beating the bushes myself if it was my loved one. I'm not sure how the Guthries are keeping their time and what they're doing, how they're feeling, if they're doing things behind the scenes. I mean, how much longer can Savannah and Cameron just sit in a house, in Tucson? I have to feel like they're probably torn, because, how do you leave and go home and just act like you can't, your life's not going to move forward. Your life is in limbo at this point, but it's not like you can do your daily, your regular daily things. So I can't imagine how that would feel, imagining going back home to New York where my family is, who I miss, but leaving and just wondering, okay, what if tomorrow we get the big break? I mean, do the siblings give each other, I mean, Annie, I don't feel like Annie could go home because there are people camped out in front of her house. Her situation is different. She lives there. And I mean, just think about that. Think about how, I mean, she doesn't have her things. They only have probably a handful of clothes. They're probably having people go get groceries for them and washing what they have and re-wearing their clothes, but not having your belongings. It does add to everything that they're probably going through on a daily basis, having things that are familiar and comforting when you're in this very vulnerable state. And, so those are some of the things that, from an empath's perspective, when I think about what the Guthries are going through right now, I think about how they're spending their hours every day. There's not much that they are doing that we're able to see. Maybe they're doing things behind the scenes, but if they aren't going to go out and beat the bushes and actually boots on the ground, that's where I would be wanting to put together a private reward. Let's put $1 million reward out. If they were willing to spend $6 million on a ransom, why not put a $1 million reward out, and let's see if we get someone who's going to turn in. There's no honor among thieves. Everybody has their own price. I feel like that would be something that they're able to do. And they might be able to turn this around a little bit faster. I mean, we're on day 12. How much more emotionally are the Guthrie siblings able to be sequestered in a gated community just with each other, and not their, comfort of their things and their family, and, knowing that there's really nothing that they're able to do. Their feelings have to be going through this roller coaster where the highs are high and the lows are low. Okay, we have a suspect. What's going to happen? They've detained somebody. What's going to happen? Is this the big break? Where's my mom? She's still alive. Where could she be? How do we get her back? The panic, the desperation. So those are things, again, from an empath's perspective, those are things that I think about, is how they're spending their day and what's getting them through this. And at what point, if they don't have a break, and again, this isn't a 42-minute Law and Order episode, it could take months to figure this out. Is media going to be camped out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house for months? Eventually, the news cycle is going to turn. At what point do people say, I don't know what's going to happen? It's time to, because they're already talking about homicide detectives in Pima County. I think that I heard that they had 6 homicide detectives, and they've already let 2 go back to their regular daily grind. And so they're down to 4 because again, if it, once the leads start drying up, you know, when do you go home? When do you go home and just say, I don't know when we're going to get an answer, but it could take months. And at this point on day 12, my biggest hope is that they at least get closure on getting their mother back. And I'm pretty sure that the family has sat down and talked with each other. And while they have hope and there's nothing to say that she's not out there, I'm sure that the siblings have sat down and said, we need to prepare ourselves for the fact that if we are able to get any closure or any resolution, it may not be the resolution that we want, but I'm just hoping and praying that they get resolution, period. And so when they do go home, that they are able to, have happy memories. So I'm gonna sign off now. I want to thank you so much, Crime Crunchies. Again, with Crime Crunchies, we don't take just a bite out of crime. We like to crunch it. We like to chew it. We like to go through it. And again, it's from an empath's perspective, taking a look at these different things. I am going to be doing an update on God's Misfits, probably Friday or Saturday. It's a case in Oklahoma where Tiffany Adams had ambushed Veronica Butler and Jillian. And of course, I've drawn a blank. But I'm going to be doing an update because there was just a sentencing. But I do want to ask everybody who's watching, please, it's free to like and subscribe. I'm getting my channel going. I am going to be at CrimeCon. Please take a minute and like and subscribe, comment, share. It's completely free to subscribe and set your notifications so that when I do go live, which I'm trying to go live every single day, if I'm able to, so you get notified when I do go live. And I am focusing on doing a compilation of different updates and different cases. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody has a great day. And thank you so much, Crime Crunchies. Crunch, crunch, crunch.